Hello and welcome to another episode of today's GK. I am Pooja Dwivedi, and in this segment we bring to you objective questions on a daily basis to help you crack prelims. So let's begin with the practice question of the last segment. Consider the following statements. Employees Provident Fund Organization is a statutory body administered by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India, and EPFO implements the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1952. So we have to select the correct statement over here. Employees Provident Fund Organization is a governmental body, not a statutory body. And yes, it is administered by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India. And yes, it implements the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1952. So the correct answer would be option C, that is 2 and 3 only. Recently, the government has announced an extension of pension coverage and insurance benefits for families of those who died due to COVID-19. It's a government organization that manages the provident fund and pension accounts for the workforce engaged in the organized sector in India. Also, it is administered by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India, and EPFO implements the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act of 1952. Let's start with today's segment. Artificial sun, East, has recently been seen in the news is developed by China. So recently, China's experimental advanced superconducting tokamak, which mimics the energy generation process of the sun, set a new record after it ran at 216 million degrees Fahrenheit for 101 seconds. It is an advanced nuclear fusion experimental research device to replicate the process of nuclear fusion, which is the same reaction that powers the sun. Moving on, World Employment and Social Outlook report is published by International Labour Organization, and the International Labour Organization recently released the World Employment and Social Outlook Trends 2021 report. The ILO highlights the danger of a COVID-19 labour market legacy of increased geographic and demographic inequality, rising poverty, and fewer decent jobs. Moving on to the next question, consider the following statement with respect to Model Tenancy Act. The Model Act has proposed to cap the security deposit equal to a maximum of 2 months' rent in the case of residential properties. The Model Act will only be applicable in urban areas, and the Act does not provide for a robust grievance redressal mechanism. We have to select the correct statement. So yes, the Model Act has proposed to put a cap on the security deposit which is equal to maximum of 2 months rent in the case of residential property. And this Model Act is applicable pan-India in urban as well as rural areas. So this is incorrect. And yes, this act has a very robust grievance redressal mechanism. The second and the third statement, these two statements are incorrect. The correct one is only the first one. So the correct answer will be option A, one only. Recently, Union Cabinet has approved the Model Tenancy Act for circulation to all states and union territories for adaptation by the way of enacting fresh legislation. A new law should be made or amending or making amends in the existing rental laws suitably. The Act envisages to balance the interests and rights of both the owner and the tenant and to create an accountable and transparent ecosystem for renting the premises in a disciplined and efficient manner. It has been proposed to cap the security deposit equal to maximum of 2 months' rent in case of residential properties and minimum of 1 month's rent in case of non-residential property. The Model Act provides for its applicability for the whole of the state, urban as well as rural areas in the state. Moving ahead, the Act stipulates a robust grievance redressal mechanism consisting of rent authority, rent court, and rent tribunal. Consider the following statements with respect to sperm whale. The sperm whale or cachalot is the largest toothed whale and the largest tooth predator. Ambergris, or famously known as the whale vomit, is a solid waxy waste product from its digestive system. So we have to select the correct statement. With respect to sperm whale, both these statements are correct. So the correct answer is option C. The sperm whale or cachalot is the largest toothed whale and largest tooth predator. Ambergris or whale vomit is a solid waxy waste product from its digestive system that is used as a fixative in perfumes and other uses. The species is now protected by a Whaling Commission moratorium. It is currently listed as vulnerable by the IUCN. Moving ahead, Consider the following statements with respect to National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. It was set up in March 2007 under the Commissions for Protection of Child Rights Act 2005, and it works under the administrative control of the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So we have to select the correct statement, both of them being correct. The correct answer would be option C, that is both 1 and 2. NCPR was set up in March 2007 under the Commission for Protection of Child Rights 2005. It works under the administrative control of the Ministry of Women and Child Development, and the Commission's mandate is to ensure that all laws, policies, programs, and administrative mechanisms are in consonance with the child rights perspective as enshrined in the Constitution of India, also the UN Convention on Rights of the Child. Which of the following countries are members of the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? India, China, Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan. So we have to select the correct answer from the above given countries. So India, China, as well as Tajikistan, these are a part of the SCO, but Turkmenistan is not. So the correct answer would be option D. Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a Eurasian political, economic, and military organization, aims to maintain peace, security, and stability in the region. It includes Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, India, and Pakistan. Consider the following statements. NHRC is a constitutional body established in 1993. The chairperson of NHRC is appointed for 5 years or till the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. Only a retired Chief Justice of India or a judge of the Supreme Court can be the chairman of NHRC. So we have to select the correct statement. Let's look at it. NHRC is not a constitutional but a statutory body, and the chairperson of NHRC was appointed for 5 years prior to 2019. After the amendment, it's 3 years now. 3 years or till the age of 70 years. But the third statement is correct. The correct answer would be option B, that is 3 only. 9 months after he retired from the Supreme Court, Justice Arun Mishra took charge as chairperson of the NHRC. NHRC is an independent statutory body established on the 12th of October 1993 as per the provisions of the Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993. In 2019, the tenure of the chairperson of NHRC was reduced to 3 years from 5 years or 70 years of age, whichever is earlier, and only a retired Chief Justice of India or a judge of the Supreme Court can be the chairman of NHRC. Moving ahead, consider the following statements. The bill to alter the boundary of a state can not be introduced in the Rajya Sabha, and Article 3 does not apply to the cession of the territory to a foreign state. So we have to select the correct statement. So if we talk about the first statement, the bill to alter the boundary of a state can be introduced in Rajya Sabha as well as Lok Sabha. So the first statement is incorrect, but the second statement is correct. The correct answer is option B, that is 2 only. On 2nd June 2021, PM extended best wishes to the people of Telangana on the state's formation day. The bill to alter the boundary of a state can be introduced in Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha with the prior recommendation of the President, and Article 3 does not apply to the cession of the territory to a foreign state. Moving ahead, which of the following spacecraft was the first one ever to land on Venus? The correct answer to this question is Venera 7, and it was recently announced that NASA is returning to sizzling Venus, our closest yet perhaps the most overlooked neighbor. After decades of exploring other worlds, and the US and the former Soviet Union sent multiple spacecrafts to Venus in the early days of space exploration, NASA's Mariner 2 performed the first successful flyby in 1962, and Soviets' Venera 7 made the first successful landing in 1970. Keep this in mind. Moving ahead, which of the following organization is responsible for declaring a country avian flu free? Many of you might think it's WHO, but it's actually World Organization for Animal Health. And recently China has reported the world's first human infection of the H1N3 avian flu strain, and World Organization for Animal Health is the organization responsible for declaring a country avian flu free. Moving on, let's look at the practice question for the next segment. Which of the following organizations has become the first standards body to become a part of One Nation, One Standard scheme? So I hope you answered it correctly in the comment segment. That's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated, and thank you so much for watching.